Right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our TEKenable webinar. Today, we're doing transformation with data and AI, and thank you very much for joining us. Just a note, we are recording the session, so just that you're aware of that, and if you'd like to rewatch it again at a later stage. Some house rules. We have a Q&A session at the end, so please put any questions you may have in the Q&A. And then let's get going. Next slide, please. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our two speakers today. Peter Rose, who's our Group Technical Director from TEKenable, and Mohammad Khan, the CTO of Microsoft Services Division for TEKenable. So, Peter, if you'd like to get going, that would be great. Our agenda, we have two topics we'll be covering: how we transform your business, and then that will be done by Peter, and then Mo will be doing application of transformation with AI and data.
Thank you very much, Jenny. It's me. One of the few photographs I actually like, so thank you for using that. Okay, Jenny's our marketing director, and the marketing department insists that we tell you something about ourselves, but I'll keep it very short because I know that's probably not what you're on the call for. But we're an Irish business focused in Ireland and the UK. We do business outside of that, but our main focus is Ireland and the UK. Around 22 years. Despite being around 22 years, people seem to like what we do because we've grown like crazy and we've been in the Deloitte Fast 50 for the last 5 years in a row. Competing against startup companies, etc. So that's actually pretty impressive, even though we say it ourselves. Very standardized in what we do, highly regulated by ISO standards, and very, very well recognized in certifications and qualifications with Microsoft. We are what's called advanced specialists in Azure and also in data and AI, which is a very high accreditation indeed. But enough about us and on to the topic. So start the session by asking actually what is business transformation, digital transformation, interchangeable terms really. So Harvard Business School defines it as the profound and accelerating transformation of all businesses, industries and economies wrought by the diffusion and commercialization of digital technology. I think anybody really speaks like that in real life, but McKinsey, who I admire greatly, I have to say, the rewiring of an organization with the goal of creating value by continuously deploying tech at scale. Very heavy on consulting speak, both of those, and only really mentioning technology. So there are two more. So we get the MIT process of using digital technologies to create new or modify existing business models to meet the needs of the digital economy. Okay, and we have Forrester, the use of digital technologies to create new or modify existing products and services to meet the needs of the digital customer. Better brings in services and customers into the descriptions. This is what I would describe it as. So improving business by changing process, culture, and stakeholder experiences in ways informed by data and supported and enabled by relevant technologies, including AI. Notice the highlighted ones: process, culture, stakeholder, data and technologies, and obviously AI being one of the topics of today, highlighted that as well. It's really important that all of those elements are involved. But what does good look like? What does a good transformation look like? Before I get into how we go about doing it, what does best practice look like? Well, the first thing is business transformation, digital transformation. It is not an event. It's not a single thing that happens. It's a journey that a business goes along. And most journeys go from sort of point A to point B, but a transformation journey really is not linear like that. It's circular. So it goes from point A to point B, and then it'll go back around the loop of what you did before to find a point C to move to and a point D to move to and so on. It goes around in a loop and it's continuously repeated. Technology changes, processes are revisited. Everything is new, and new opportunities present themselves every period of time. So each time you complete a transformation, you're basically back then to the start to try and do it again, making use of what's come before you. Future back thinking is a very interesting challenge. We won't go into that in any detail today, but essentially it's the freeing yourselves from the shackles of today in terms of don't worry about what technologies or solutions or customer base you have or anything. Free yourself from that and envisage what the business would look like in 5 or 10 years' time. And then work back from there a plan as to how to get to it. Most businesses start by thinking about what they have today and how they can incrementally change it. And that immediately puts a constraint on them and a constraint on their thinking. And ideas that otherwise would arise are squashed because we can't do that because System X would prevent us. So future back thinking, look it up. It's actually really useful in terms of a technique, maybe a topic for a future webinar, but not for today. You're trying to drive innovation and differentiation. The purpose of it is to make your business as best a business as it can and to differentiate yourself, if I can say it, from the competition. It's not tech driven. It's really important. Digital transformation or business transformation cannot be driven by the technology. Technology is an enabler, and we use the toolkit of technologies available to us. But ultimately, what we're doing is we're driving business change. We're not implementing technology solutions for the sake of technology solutions. The way to find out if you're implementing technology for the sake of it is to ask the question, is what I am doing supporting or creating process change within the organization? Will we do things differently as a result of this? If the answer is no, you're just implementing a technical toy. If the answer is yes, you've implemented actual change. And the whole thing, of course, people talk about the trilogy of people, process, and technology, but actually it's not a trilogy. It's 4 items. It's people, process, technology, and data, and they all have to be considered in this particular transformation. So at a high level, what does our approach look like? Well, at a very high level, we start off by assessing the business landscape. So what is the context that the business is operating in? What do their competition look like? What are the market forces that are shaping that particular vertical market? What are the regulatory compliance requirements coming down? There could be EU regulations, or they could be specific regulatory compliance from, say, central bank, for example, if it's a financial business. But what is the context? What is the context this business is operating in? And importantly, I went backwards there. Importantly, what is their business strategy? What has the business decided it wants to do? What has the business decided they want to look like in a few years' time? What will customer base be? What will the services be that they intend to offer, etc.? Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to transform the business and move it along that journey that's been described already for the board. Sometimes we get involved at the stage of re-envisaging the business, and we start slightly before, say, step 0, creating a business strategy with the board of directors. But mostly we're aligning with an existing strategy and an existing strategic and investment direction for the business. In that context, we have to develop a comprehensive digital transformation strategy. That involves a lot of steps. We do things like we look at the processes the business has. We look at the interactions, the customer journeys, the processes, the vertical functions that they have within the business, etc. We identify areas for improvement to bring them on that strategic journey. And we identify within that potential initiatives that could be executed. That's step 3 in the circle here. So we're looking at potential things that could change in the business. They're not always technical. Sometimes they're simply process change, or maybe actually simply cultural change. But typically it's a combination of all of those aspects. And we find those initiatives and we throw them up on a big whiteboard and we put sticky labels on, etc., with the initiatives on it. And then we shuffle them around and prioritize them and select them based upon the business value that they will deliver and how easy they are to execute. Ease of execution, quick win. Low business value, not a big win. So you see, there's a sort of a balancing act. Ideally, you want something with a good business impact that can be implemented fairly quickly, and then you move on and do the next initiative. So we deliver the prioritized initiatives, and we measure and track impact. What's really, really important here is that you've actually got a measurement pre-change, the baseline metrics. You have data to support that in terms of, say, throughput, for example, or efficiency or handling time, whatever it may be. You need those metrics as a baseline, because believe me, if you're going around this circle a few times, the executive of the organization will forget what the business was like before you started doing the digital transformation, and they won't appreciate the degree of change that has actually taken place. So you need the metrics, you need those baseline metrics, the data, in order to baseline it and be able to clearly demonstrate the impact that you've had. in that initiative, good, bad, or indifferent, but you need to be able to demonstrate it. Then we review, again, we look at the set of initiatives and we repeat again, re-review the landscape. Has anything changed? The new competitors coming up, etc., etc. In practice, what we do at the lower level below this varies according to the business needs and maturity of thought. We've got lots of tools that we use, from customer journey mapping to process mapping, business efficiency measurement, etc., etc. But we select from that toolkit according to what's needed. But what is always the case is there are common enablers of change. So this is a very wordy slide, and I'll leave this here for people to look at it after the event. But essentially, there are the items on here are the essential elements that you have to have. You must have executive sponsorship. Probably goes without saying, but that means everybody in the executive must be behind this. You need a key sponsor, but everybody must be supportive. If there's any issues, that can cause major problems down the line. You need to consider the talent and skills gap. Potentially, there might be one for the employees. The employees need to have suitable training, suitable involvement in the process even. So that they're not passive aggressive, they're not feeling left out and then sort of agitating behind the scenes about this change that's coming. They need to feel equipped and confident that they can actually carry out what it is that's being asked for them, and to know why that's happening. Culture of innovation, really important. The business must be up for change. Change is disruptive, change is difficult, change is challenging for people. So ideally, you need to start to imbue a culture of innovation within the organization. Artificial intelligence is one of the key technologies that is being used today to transform businesses. Being new in the generative AI space, if not the machine learning space, is actually enabling a set of changes that haven't previously been possible within organizations. So we call that out specifically, but it is just one of the technologies that's applied. Agility and adaptability speaks to the ability of the organization to change. Being customer-centric, really critical. Your change must be focused on serving your customers and other stakeholders better. If it's not, again, you run the risk of implementing a technical toy. Data-centric. Well, we'll touch on that in a second, but the data is really key in terms of measurement, impact, and actually selecting the initiatives that you want to proceed with, and which ones you'll prioritize where. Doesn't have to be low code, no code, but it usually is. But a development platform is required. If you're going to make a massive change across an organization, very often that change involves replacing some of the existing systems, not all of it, centralizing your data, and rapid application development platforms like, for example, Microsoft Dynamics 365 that we're going to show you today, Salesforce, Pega, OutSystems, etc. The low-code platforms, the popular low-code platforms, are really good places to do that and to base your change in because of its ability to change quickly and its flexibility. And of course, agile and DevOps-based methodologies, good classic software engineering principles in terms of deploying change technically do not go away just because you're looking at low code or no code platforms. They're the same challenge and they need the same level of formal consideration. But probably the biggest single enabler of informed business change is to establish a customer 360 strategy, implementing the platforms and capturing the data needed to make data-driven decisions in a customer-centric way. So let's, by way of illustration, let's take a trip back in time a few years and meet Jack. So my Uncle Jack actually was a bank manager. It's not his picture, but let's talk about Jack, the bank manager, the traditional local bank manager that somewhat has gone out of I suppose existence. Excuse me. But when he did exist and you went in to meet your bank manager on a regular basis to ask for services and advice and so on and so forth, you knew him. He knew your family for as long as you could remember. He knew your cousin Jerry. He knows you've always liked fast cars, that you really wanted to be a doctor, for example. Is quietly confident that you're going to marry Mary, even though you might know that yourself. He's the very embodiment of Customer 360. He's well placed to advise you on how the bank can help you to achieve what you want in life. And he understands the bank's level of risk in dealing with you, so he can balance your interests and those of the bank. The local bank manager, Jack, was Customer 360 personified, a mix of factual knowledge, data, and informed judgments. So informed judgments is now AI, and data is taking the place of the factual knowledge that he held. But what that enabled was the delivery of personalized and relevant services with your interests at heart, but also aligned to the organization's attitude for risk and the services that they provide. He is, in effect, your trusted advisor. And every customer that deals with every organization needs a Jack to deal with. But data and AI is the current mechanism for delivering that today and delivering a customer 360 experience. So, as a quote from a survey that we did, a market research survey, that by moving to modern cloud-based systems which draw on a single source of truth, organizations will find that they're able to access a wider array of data points, interrogate them in new and novel ways. So let's have a look at a difference between a business that has invested in Customer 360, the foundation for transformation, and one that has not, starting with the one that has not. So what we have here is an image that's trying to depict a sort of a classical business that hasn't engaged in a business transformation in a serious way, and certainly hasn't engaged in a Customer 360 transformation. What you'll find within the organization is lots of siloed data. So some of the data is inaccessible electronically. It's on paper, for example, sitting on people's desks. More often now these days, we find it sitting in Microsoft Excel or local databases. And there's lots of doors into the organization that customers can step through. They can talk to finance, they can talk to customer support, they can talk to sales, they can exit, and so on and so on. The customers are required to find the right door to go through to talk to the right department. Otherwise, what happens is they get a very poor user experience. They go, "Who are you? Sorry, I don't know you. I don't know anything about your dealings with our business beyond what's in my own departmental view." And it's incredibly frustrating for the customer, and it's incredibly inefficient for the business itself. The business is purely reactive and transactional. They can only react to what is presented to them by the customer, the request that's in front of them at that time, and they can only do that thing that the customer is asking him to do. They lose a huge opportunity to be very proactive and very to serve that customer in a very effective way. We go on to look at a Customer 360 business, and things change quite significantly. You ignore the little floating database above the top of it for the moment, but you can see that in a Customer 360 business, there is only one door, and it doesn't matter what you want. You come through that door and you'll be serviced. You can see that the individual systems and the silos of data within the organization, while they still exist to an extent, are much less, and they are actually consolidated and centralized so that an information resource is available. And that's the thing floating above the picture of the office. What they've done is they've implemented an application and data platform. This is this low-code platform that I'm talking about that can basically be implemented in every department. There's low-code capabilities for finance, for marketing, for sales, for customer service. Every single aspect of the business can share a common platform. By sharing that common platform and recognizing that there are key line of business systems that have to remain, like the big red database in the picture, by sharing that common platform, what happens is you remove some of the data silos. By integrating that large remaining database and some of the small data sets into that platform, you make all of that information, all of the business information available to anybody and everybody that needs it and has an authority to access it. We typically migrate smaller systems to the cloud. We replace them. Legacy systems can be replaced and migrated, or they can be simply integrated in place. And we create master data records. So there's no duplication of data. There is no contradiction. There's no trying to figure out what the single customer view looks like, because you have that single view of your customer, Customer 360. And all the staff have access to all the information they need to undertake all the things the customer might want. So no longer do the customers have to find the right door in. They can come in and anybody can deal with them. But moreover, they can deal with it themselves. You start to enable self-service to happen with your customers, and that's really powerful enabler. Customer experience is greatly improved, loyalty is greatly increased, and the efficiency and profitability of the organization is increased. But as it says there, that's not the end of the story. So we start to add analytics because now we've got our data in one particular place, we can actually start to derive business insights from that. What we find when we walk into a business that hasn't gone down this journey, with lots of silos of data, some big, some small, some on paper, etc. What we find is that they've created an industry. They want to do analytics. They recognize the value of analytics in their business, but they've created an entire industry of shuffling that data around and moving it into various reporting platforms. Large organizations, typically we find they have more than one reporting platform. So not only do they have a huge industry just about moving data, but they still have issues of duplication. They still have issues of figuring out who their customers actually are across their engagements with the various departments. But they also have the complexity of multiple different technology stacks, which means they need different technical teams for the report generation and writing. And that also confuses the heck out of the end users, because they have to learn multiple reporting platforms in order to do their own level of self-reporting. It's really, really inefficient. We will put in typically a platform like Microsoft Fabric, for example, breaks down all of those barriers, centralizes the data, and enables you to do reporting from a single reporting stack that's common across the entire business. And that can sit on this low-code platform data repository, but also access the existing silos in specialist systems that are still there. So the analytics can provide business insights and support data-driven decision-making, which is actually quite crucial if you go back around the loop and think about identifying which initiatives you would do, what you would do next for the business. You need to have the data to support that decision-making process, or your finger in the air judgment call is what you're going to base that on. And what we've found, our experience to date, actually, my experience in talking to many senior managers and execs in very large organizations, is actually they think they know how the business works, but they really don't. They really do not know the on-the-ground level of how things are operating. So data-driven means that they have an objective view as opposed to a subjective and often wrong view of what's happening, which makes them select the wrong initiatives, and they don't necessarily get the return on investment they were expecting. So data-driven, really, really important. It will also obviously form the basis for measuring your transformational impact, because if you have that level of data collection across the organization, you can see the change and you can attribute the change. And generally enables your business to be more efficient, adaptable, and relevant. That's not the end of the story either. So we have then the opportunity to implement AI. As with artificial intelligence, AI can now go beyond what you know about the customer and start to forecast things about your business, about the customer, about the market, etc., based upon the information you're collecting and external data sources that you could include in that analytics. So by using AI to look at insights into what the customer wants and needs, for example, and forecasting what they'll benefit most from in terms of your service provision, you're now moving the business from being reactive, responding to simple requests from the customer, to being proactive in terms of making recommendations to that customer and suggesting things that the algorithms at least believe are going to be interesting to them. You become a partner as opposed to just a service business responding in a reactive fashion. And ultimately, this might not be a term you're familiar with, but ultimately AI supports the concept of hyper-personalization. And describe that briefly for a minute. So classically, if you have a personalized website, for example, you would log in, so the website knows who you are, and then it might select content based upon fixed segments. It identifies which segment it thinks you belong in. So are you a decision-making user? Are you researching, for example? Are you about to make a decision? Are you ready to buy? There are predefined segments defined by the web engineers and the marketing team typically. And it tries to fit you into one of these segments and says, oh, it's this, and then you get presented the content relevant to that segment. It's better than a static website, it's better than static communications. But hyper-personalization is the process of matching you using AI based on your behavior to other groups of individuals that don't have a label, there's no name against them, but the AI says your behavior looks very similar to these other customers. And then based upon that, these other customers did this, so we can make some predictions about what you want. It's the classic Amazon's, others who looked at this bought that recommendation engine, and there are AI services, etc., that we can deploy from Microsoft Azure that are designed to do recommendations and personalization, customizing content, customizing service offers, etc. So Jack would recognize the ideas, if not necessarily the technology, so because the combination of data, the facts that he knew, and AI, the opinions that he held, and the forecasts about you, really enables your business to get under the covers and be very proactive and make recommendations and be relevant to your customer in ways that you can't currently do, perhaps. So we ran a survey, I mentioned it before, I think, Customer 360 survey. We interviewed a very large cohort across Ireland and the UK of CIOs and senior managers in various different size companies, ranging from startups to very large enterprise, about their attitude to Customer 360. And we've selected two of the findings to show you in this presentation. I'm going to show those to you now. If you're interested in looking at the full survey, the white paper's on our website. You'll find it under the white paper section. So the first one: would a unified Customer 360 enhance your customer engagement and grow your business? A massive 94% of the C-suite said yes, 93% of senior management said absolutely, and 75% of first-line management said yes. I mean, that is a resounding vote for yes, Customer 360 make a huge difference to our customer base, to our company. Second finding: what is your current familiarity with Customer 360? This one was really surprising. 70% of the C-suite understood what it was, understood what they needed to do, but only 10% of the senior management understood it. This is a concept that lives in the board and hasn't actually been communicated down effectively to the senior management or first line management within the organization. Because the board typically drives the digital transformation initiatives, there is a huge gap there that's preventing them from actually implementing it. And that brings us back to some of the key enablers: executive sponsorship, agility, and so on and so forth. And being aware that that gap exists and using education, citing examples, case studies, etc., and just basically informing the senior management and the first line management of what it is, what it means, how to go about executing it, actually is probably a bigger challenge than implementing the actual technology. Not insurmountable, but a bigger challenge. Hope that gave you a bit of a flavor in terms of how we approach things. If you were hoping for a step-by-step formula as to how to implement digital transformation, I hope I haven't disappointed. At a very high level, this is how we approach it, but every customer is different. Every customer has different drivers and different needs, and we have different tools that we can deploy. But there's a common theme, and the common theme is Customer 360 is a real huge enabler for digital and business transformation. So thank you for listening to me. I'm going to hand over now to Mohammad to continue this story, and he's going to take over the presentation. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Pete. So very insightful. So let's look at how we've been helping our customers with their digital transformation journeys. So kind of underlying some of the concepts that Pete explained there is a bad customer service experience because you've got disjointed process and systems. That's that first kind of picture of the organization with multiple doors. That leads, as we've kind of identified, to decreased engagement with the customer and decreased brand loyalty. The modern customer is already kind of used to good digital experiences with their kind of access to mobile apps and all sorts of kind of services. So they expect the same from every business they deal with. And interestingly enough, so does your enterprise user or your employees. They also expect processes to be, and systems that they deal with to be a lot more seamless. And they get frustrated if processes are complicated. They have to swivel between multiple systems. So that first picture that Pete showed, where you've got, data is siloed and systems are siloed across departments, it leads to frustration both for your customer and for your employee. With the low-code platforms, it is predicted that in the next 5 years, we're going to be making, 50 million plus apps. That is more than all the apps built in the last 40 years combined, because it's so much quicker to get apps from kind of conceptualization to production. So you typically need to look at a platform that allow you to kind of build that intelligent customer experience solution, and obviously, as the theme of this call is, to use that data and the power of AI, particularly generative AI, to kind of increase that collaboration between your employees and then give that better customer experience. And by adopting a platform which is continuously being involved as technology changes, you gain new capabilities without more investment. So let me just switch to the next slide. So the platform, as Pete alluded to, is our that we have been helping almost for a decade now our customers through their digital transformation journey. We have done successfully with small and medium and large size organizations in various business verticals using Dynamics 365 as the platform. Within Dynamics 365, we have tools for different kind of departments or parts of the business. We have Dynamics 365, the sales, what used to be called marketing is now called customer insights, and we have customer service with add-ons like field service and omnichannel. And because you're trying to move these experiences or interactions into one platform, you've got the data pretty much in one location. You can use that interaction then to create that 360 profile of the customer. That'll help you deeply understand your customer and help you personalize the interactions because you can leverage data and AI. So the first of those tools, which is called Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, or marketing in its previous branding, that is where you can see the power of that customer profile. So you can create a profile, you can customize it, and that will give you the single source of truth, and then you can use insights from your marketing and other interactions with the customer to basically create very powerful segments, because you're capturing insights at every interaction point with the customer, from their initial introduction to you through a marketing campaign possibly, through to their sales kind of experience with a salesperson, and then through to customer service if they do become a customer. Those captured interactions allow you to create very powerful segments, which is basically all of these types of users who did this when I sent them an email or signed up to an event last year, and so on. So from the different roles within your enterprise themselves, you have kind of roles like a data wrangler. They can basically use the platform and see that unified and help you create that unified view of the customer. And then essentially that could be used to create some predictive insights, and you can track and measure some KPIs. The marketer can use the same profile with the help of AI to build kind of custom journeys for them, real-time journeys, and personalize that experience through that journey, and create segments with AI that'll help them nurture leads in real time. The seller who gets the leads can build and quickly build on top of that good work and quickly close the opportunity and create that loyalty with the customer, because they're getting a good experience, and they can have greater visibility on all the interactions with the customer leading up to that sales opportunity. And obviously, when the customer becomes is a customer and they may need some support, they get in touch with the service agent. The service agent immediately gets the context of the customer because they can see all the previous interactions plus everything in their 360 profile. So all of these lead to a very, very kind of personalized experience, because your employees see the customer's full profile. The 360 single source of kind of truth profile is obviously all the things that Peter underlined there, which is through the interactions with marketing, sales, and service. You can even bring in information from other sources. The 360 profile looks similar to this. You can customize it, obviously, and you can see here the enrichment of this with AI-based machine learning models. So they've calculated fraud risk and churn score based on all the data that you have collated about this customer within their profile. So the customers, the more happier the customer is, the churn score, as in their potential for leaving you for a competitor would reduce. And if they've got bad experience or lots of outstanding customer service cases, that'll actually lead to worse score. So now let's move over to Dynamics 365 customer service. This tool helps you to kind of use that 360 information to personalize the service interaction. The customer, we look at the customer journey in the service context, and we look at co-pilots and how that is helping the customer service agents to become super agents. So a connected experience for every role to deliver a seamless customer journey is what we can gain by having a 360 view. So you can imagine what I explained earlier, which is, marketing creates a personalized journey, which builds a pipeline. The customer kind of enters that, possibly as they show interest, they create a lead. Sales convert that lead and into a sale, and then customer service uses that to provide good customer service support and increases your CSAT score and reduces your churn score that we looked at in that profile. So all of these interactions kind of achieve what you're trying to do in terms of retaining the customer and gaining more customers. If we blow up the service part of that journey, with that one platform, you can allow what Peter alluded to earlier, a self-service. Essentially, with enough information about the customer, you can quickly, with low-code platforms, deploy things like portals, support portals with knowledge bases that you can search, with the conversational AI, the power of ChatGPT, so the AI is more human-like, and they can actually, solve most of their problems and find answers without raising more work for your agents. But if the same portal allows them to quickly contact an agent if they cannot self-service themselves. The agents can be approached with omni-channel, so whether social media, through your portal, through email, through the various kind of maybe web chats or even a direct video or audio call. The agent has full visibility, and they're assisted by AI to quickly pull information about the products and help the customer resolve issues quicker. And then they can call in other experts from the organization, engineers and so on, into the conversation seamlessly. So it's collaboration and modern case management. And if they can't solve the problem, and it's a product-based company, they could use the field service add-on. Now, what that allows is to basically, if you have a fleet of devices with IoT sensors, you can ingest that data, and you can use AI to kind of schedule things like, schedule services, or they can report errors, the device themselves, and they could schedule a service, on-site service directly. You can also use AI to optimize the resource scheduling and the work orders. So, field service engineers schedule and their route mapping and so on, that can all be enabled. And then when the engineer is on site, you can use the mobile app and things like HoloLens goggles and remote assist, so they can collaborate with the engineer and they can help them through virtual reality to solve the physical kind of device problems. So the capabilities in Dynamics 365 customer service allow us to personalize that experience and connect the customer through their preferred kind of channel, makes the agent work more effortlessly with increased productivity and collaboration. It actually helps the supervisors, let's say typically contact centers, shift supervisors and kind of so on, team supervisors, they can make data-driven decisions because all of this data is showing up on their dashboards as a supervisor role. They can see trends and issues. They can see where they might need to coach their agents better, and they can see bottlenecks, and they can plan for more resources and as the needs fluctuate. And similarly, service leaders for large organizations, they have, they want to obviously make it simpler, cheaper, more efficient, have more automation. So with that platform, with the power of the platform, with the data in being one place, you get that capability as a service leader to make those types of gains, simplify and lower the costs of customer service. In recent year, we've seen generative AI being plugged into all the Microsoft 365 tools. So a Copilot, which is basically ChatGPT, can quickly allow agents who are working on multiple, let's say, web chat sessions with 3 or 4 or 5 customers simultaneously, switch between them, and they can quickly ramp up their understanding of what has been discussed so far. It actually help improve, taking handovers from their colleagues, and the AI is monitoring the chat conversation, helping you summarize the conversation, and also suggesting possible answers. So, you know, as you're talking to the customer and they're mentioning their problems, you can see the full profile of the customer, the products, the previous interactions, and the AI is suggesting for you possible resolutions from knowledge bases from previous instances where this issue was resolved. You've logged them, so AI can help you suggest answers. So, you know, you can imagine switching between 3 or 4 conversations as an agent. You can quickly see the suggested possible options to solve a problem. It also has built-in analytics, so you can see the adoption. You can see how many how Copilot has been helping suggest responses. How many of those responses were used by your agents. This will give indications as to how you want to improve the knowledge-based content, or maybe the agent training or adoption. So why is all of this important? And just to underline what Pete was saying earlier, service experience directly impacts business performance. You can see the numbers there. You can see the references to the surveys where these have been pulled out of. Essentially, better customer service experience increases customer loyalty. Poor customer service experience, the customer will churn. They will leave for a competitor. They no longer deal with you. And this directly leads to business impact. Your business growth, you know, in real terms, depends on a happy customer. And to get a happy customer, you need to have a 360 type scenario. Let me show you 1 or 2 screens here that I've taken as a screenshot of, you know, how these tools look like when you implement them. So let me just go look this one. So this is my profile from our own dynamics, just to illustrate. So you can see there's a lot of data points I can collect in multiple tabs. I've got insights that I'm going to show you in a second. You can see all the emails, chats, anything that I've been sent from our Dynamics customer insights journeys is recorded. So this is what we mean by having all the data in one place about your customer and the interactions, because that then can be used to create kind of segments. So you can see from previous journeys where I've been sent emails, I can actually see when I was sent an email, when I opened it, when it was delivered. So if you have sophisticated journeys that span from an email to be driving them to a actual website where they're signing up for an event like this one, or they're purchasing, you can actually trace all of that and see where they're dropping off on the journey, and then you can create new segments for those people who have left different stages of the journey, and you can then help to create segments for that and target them in new campaigns. This is an example of how AI helps you using natural language to create a segment. Previously, you need to have a little bit of training and more understanding of data models and possibly creating languages. Now you can, with a natural language, create a segment very quickly. Once you create a segment, you can create a customer 360 type journey here. So this is an event journey that we ran a couple of months ago. So you can see we added a segment of 160 people, dynamically found all the contexts that met the segment definition requirements. And I was sent an email, and then 160 received this email. We waited a week, we sent a reminder email. So you can have a very sophisticated journey with lots of branches off, and people falling off at different stages can be sent different types of emails or being contacted by phone or WhatsApp and so on. And all of this data is being collated, and that's essentially the interactions capturing, and they're linked back to the 360 profile. So this is, I'm just going to stop the actual presentation, and we have a couple of minutes. I'll actually show you. So this is my profile on our TEKenable marketing, and you can see the insights and the profile over here, just so that you can visualize it. You can see that there. So a lot of data is captured about this. So if we actually drove them to a web and through event management, you'll see a lot more information. I'm just going to switch over to another browser window here. So this is Dynamics Customer Insights Journeys. So we can create segments here. So let me see if I can create a segment with the help of the Copilot. Apologies in advance if the demo doesn't work, but let's see. Just bear with me while this spins up.
I love the confidence, Mo. I love the confidence.
Yeah.
That's the trouble with doing live demos is the demo gods usually have it in for you.
Yeah. So this is where previously you had to use a querying interface and some training. Now you can just use contacts, and as soon as I start typing, the AI is giving me potential prompts. So I can go who were created between this date in the US, or who were created last year and make more than 50K. So if I select that one and I go create, now the Copilot brings up the design surface and allows me to further kind of refine that query. But this is my initial query, and it converted into this actual query definition that the tool uses. I can go use on this. What'll happen is it'll take that query, and so this is where the journey of creating a segment used to start before. You have to be a little bit of clued in as to how to do this. Now it's actually just a single sentence in English, and it's get converted to the actual query, and it's all configured for you. So you do that, you save it, it starts running in the background, finds all the contacts in the contact database that match this criteria. I can actually extend the criteria. I can find all the data points that I've been collecting, and you can obviously customize them. So the more data you have and the more systems you have, you can actually collate them or bring them in together over here. So that's our kind of segmentation. Just discard this. Let's go into journeys. So how do I use that for journeys? So let me just go in. Sorry, I've got a phone here. That won't stop. Okay. So let's see how we can create a journey here. So I'm creating a journey where I want to contact contacts who registered for a marketing event, send them a reminder email, and they don't check in for the event. So maybe a couple of hours or a day before they need to check in for the event. So it is telling me, yeah, I understand what you want to do, the AI assistant. Can you choose a trigger for when do you want me to do that? So let me see if I have triggers. There you go. Let's see if I can find the trigger here. So marketing form submit. Okay, and I go, yeah, that's a trigger. So it goes, okay, fine, go submit that. So now it's giving me a preview of the potential journey, and I go create journey. I can refine it further, but I just go, let's go create the journey. And now the journey designer has basically given me a starting point, and I can further refine it and use the interface. So previously, again, this tool was available, but you started with a blank slate here, and you had to know what you were doing. Now with an English definition, it'll actually, the AI will help you get the journey created quicker, and our marketing team used this to create journeys. So just illustration of how AI is embedded in the platform. Here's an example of Microsoft Dynamics 365 sales. I've opened up an opportunity, maybe as a result of that marketing journey. Somebody showed interest, they signed up for something or responded, and that's created an opportunity. So in this case, you can see that I've got a lot of detail that's been captured. I've got all the interactions, phone calls, all of that stuff. I can actually highlight stuff using Copilot about the opportunity. I can actually see that machine learning models have scored the opportunity based on the interactions, how long it's been active, what's been happening or not happening. And essentially, the AI is helping you to give a sense of what is actually going on here in this opportunity. And I can also open up my Copilot, and I can actually ask it questions about this opportunity, or it can help me actually summarize this. So this is another kind of way AI is kind of embedded into the workflow and helping people quickly respond. Here is a customer service. So you've got a lot of information. The customer went through the marketing journey, they went through the sales journey. They have products. They've raised different issues with them. You've been running Dynamics 365. You've built up a knowledge base. So now, as a customer service agent, I come into dashboard and I look at this case, start my shift. I open this up. So this is a case as a result of customer service request. I go in. I can see there's a mineral buildup problem in this coffee machine that we've sold, Claudia. But there's a lot of data points across multiple tabs. And how do I kind of get a real picture here? Lots of interactions, emails back and forth. My colleagues have been talking to her. They're on holiday now. So I click on that. Copilot quickly summarizes all of this information, and it grounds a response that is relevant. So you can read this and understand what the current state is, and if there's anything promised to the customer or not around this. So again, very, very effective. It could take you 10-15 minutes to kind of get your bearings switching between cases. This short circuits that. I can open up my Copilot. Okay, and I'm kind of figuring out how I can help Claudia. So before I even clicked on it, Copilot has figured out that there's a problem with her machine. It figured out what the product was, and it's giving me a prompt, which I was going to actually type. It's actually giving me that potential question I can ask is, how do I help her? So I'll click on that prompt. I'll take the offer up. So what it's going to do is it's going to look at everything in our knowledge base to see is there any way that we have recorded how these issues can be resolved typically. So over time, you'll build up a knowledge base. You can point it to up to 5 existing knowledge websites if you have them, or knowledge kind of wikis that you have in your organization. And there's a built-in knowledge base actually inside the product itself. So it's actually given me instructions of how to help her. I can even see the sources where the information was pulled. There actually is a knowledge article there. I think I'm going to respond to Claudia with an email. So I go in to email, and Copilot immediately loads up. The email interface comes in. So I can use Copilot by giving it instructions here. It'll help me write the email if it's kind of, I want to come up with it from scratch. But it also gives me some helpful prompts. I can describe what I want. But what I actually want to do is just give the customer instructions to resolve their problem. So I'll take up its offer and use one of the pre-built prompts there. And it's going to go off and read, obviously, the content it has access to, but it knows that it's writing an email. So it formats a nice email for me. It gives all the niceties. It actually pulls that information that we looked at in the knowledge article in line in the email. And it does a very nice job of kind of giving me a good starting point. Now I can see the sources it's pulled that information from again, just to make sure. I can actually adjust the tone. Maybe actually that's too long. I just want to be more succinct. So I go short. Again, I go update. It'll regenerate now, and it'll give me a shorter version of the email previously generated. I think that's a good point. I just want to be very, very succinct. So I just go copy, and it'll actually copy the email into the body. I can further modify it, or I can just run with it as it is. And that email will be recorded as a response on the case, and it'll feed into the next summary. And then my colleague in the next shift who picks up on this knows exactly where he left off. So that's an example, again, of how AI, and this experience, by the way, is built into the omni-channel chat interface, as we described earlier. So if you're chatting with 4 or 5 customers simultaneously as an agent, AI is looking at everything that's being discussed and giving you these responses from within the case and from within your knowledge base. So it does accelerate a customer. And just to kind of underline one final kind of thing, which is what Pete alluded to at the end, is basically with this data in this platform, you can do all of these things that we have. But if you have data in this and maybe 1 or 2 other line of business systems that you don't retire and they're working in simultaneously, you can use something like Microsoft Fabric. So here is an example of a report where we pull in data from the various sources into one lake in Fabric, and then we run machine learning model on top of that, and then enrich the data. So you can see there that the actual sales versus predicted sales. So based on the sales data, I've got a prediction model that actually gives me, and I can overlay the actual sales and predicted sales on top of each other in a Power BI report. So this is an example of AI enriching your data with more insights and predictions. So this is all built into Fabric. This is how that machine. So this is Microsoft Fabric, and you can see there's a machine learning model here that is done in a notebook. We're not data scientists, but essentially all of this is done by data scientists within the same location where all your data is being collated. So whether it's data engineers, whether it's data scientists, whether it's people who are reporting, all use one tool, which is Fabric, and essentially, you reduce the number of tools you're dealing with. You get everything in one place, pulled in from Dynamics very easily by a couple of clicks, but from other systems that you may have on-prem or in the cloud. So that's all my demos. Let me just switch back to the presentation, please. Jenny?
Yes, thank you very much, Mo. Appreciate that. And Peter, thank you. So I don't see any questions in the Q&A. Anyone got anything they'd like to ask or say? So, yeah. Just there, if you want to look at the AI offerings or you want to send a message to us, you can just scan the QR code there and send it through. And then in a second, Mo will switch to the next screen as well. On that one, we have the digital transformation brochure, and we also have the white paper that we have referenced in this presentation on the Customer 360.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Thanks, Mo. Hopefully, as a result of listening to us for the last hour, you've got a better understanding of how we actually go about doing transformational projects for our customers and the importance of data and AI in that transformation, not just in the mechanics of supporting customers and improving sales and so on and so forth, but actually in the selection of initiatives as well that we need to take. And making data-driven decisions throughout the process, from selecting an initiative to measuring the outcome of that, and using data to drive your interactions with your customers. So thanks very much for listening. Jenny, any wrap up? And I think we're done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone, and chat soon.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.